right now. Listen up.
3, 2, 1.
It's showtime.
That's great.
This is ridiculous.
99.3 The Truth.
You can't handle the truth right now.
Ooh.
That's the stupidest thing I ever heard.
Let's do it.
Hit it.
It's time for Mac's World. And here we go.
Everybody, let's get it started. Let's get it started in here.
Call Mac 244-0077 or text 809-0993.
It's showtime, everybody. Showtime.
Exclusively on 99.3 The Truth.
7 minutes after 4 o'clock on the 17th day of August in the Lord's year 2016. I like thinking ahead, you know what I mean? All right. 17th day of August, and State Fair continues. Sure has been nice weather. Now, I'm not a State Fair person anymore. I used to be. I used to live out there for 11, 12 days, and I really mean lived out there. They have a bunkhouse in the main house for board members and other people, and I guess I fit under that other people. So don't get me wrong. It's not that I miss it or that I don't love it. I loved it. But right now, I'm if maybe you know or maybe you don't, but I had a health scare, and it was the first time in my life. I'm 57 years old. It was the first time in my life I did something about my health, and going out to the State Fair would absolutely destroy any progress because I'd have to go to those people who make those homemade tacos. I mean, they literally fry the taco shell, the bread, right in front of you, okay? Roloff, you've never been to the fair with me. I'd go to the fair for you, but you'd have to eat everything I wanted because I know where all the good food is.
Would that be weird? I would just eat on your behalf?
For you and Roloff, you'd have to have a bankroll of about $500.
That's the thing about fair food.
Because everything out there is going to be at least $5 to $10. Anything you buy.
$9.
Walking tacos are like $6. That's a bag of Doritos and some meat.
But you got to know where the hidden secrets are. You know,
the good stuff.
Yeah, you got to get off the main road because I don't know if I know you do know this. These vendors pay for that opportunity to be there, and just like when you go into Hy-Vee, okay, I'm 6 foot tall. The folks that pay the most for their mayonnaise or their ketchup or their toilet paper, they pay the most to be somewhere between 5 foot and 6 foot on shelves. The guys that are at the bottom, they pay something, the stocking fee or a shelving fee or whatever it is. But the guy at 5, 6 foot, they pay the most. Makes sense, right? Psychology of grocery store business. Someday I'll get a buddy of mine. I got a couple buddies who spent their whole careers at Hy-Vee and they're now retired. You'd be amazed at what these people do in these grocery stores to make sure you spend your money there. So, it's crazy.
So the folk on the main drag of the...
when you walk in that front gate and you go right past the State Patrol thing, and I think the petting zoo's over on the north.
And the grandstand.
Well, no, you're not to the grandstand yet.
Okay.
But, let's say between the grandstand and Knapp's Varied Industry Building.
Right.
Those people, they're paying...
top dollar.
Big bucks for those. Plus... the way the State Fair works, guess who you have to buy your ice from? Guess who you have to buy your cups from? Do you remember a couple of years ago that the State Fair tried to get rid of cash and go with like tickets or a card or whatever?
Right.
That's going to happen. It's going to happen where you go to the Iowa State Fair and you're going to get a plastic card. And you're going to go back and charge it and charge it and charge it and charge. Just keep putting money into that card. And that's the only way you'll be able to buy something. Because what the State Fair wants to do is they want to take the money you spend out of the vendors' hands and into their hands, and then they'll make distributions. You buy your cups from the State Fair. Now, you don't pay 2 or 3 cents for that cup. You pay like $1. They've already gotten their money out of that pop you're about to sell. It's crazy. It's crazy business.
The last time I was out there, a bottle of water was like $6.
Yeah. But see, Chris, I would see. Have you ever heard of Cattleman's?
Oh, yeah. Well, there's a Cattleman's Steakhouse, yeah.
No, out at the fairgrounds.
Oh, no.
Cattleman's.
Yeah. I'm from Texas, so we eat big cows down there. It's Cattleman's Steakhouse that way.
There's certain people you can go to at Cattleman's, and they know who they know, and you can take your little daughter, Katie, and she can watch pigs being born. They're not out there in the main barn where everybody walks through. The last thing a sow needs is a mama sow getting ready to give birth to a litter of piglets. Last thing they need is all that noise. Soon as mommy gets ready. Now, every once in a while, it will happen. You know, we can't control Mother Nature. But if you know the right people, you could call out there, find out that there's a mama sow getting ready to have a litter of pigs, and you and Katie and Steph could go out there, and you go through the back doors. You go behind the red ropes. And it's amazing what goes on at that state fair. For many years, I lived out at the fair for those 10, 11, 12 days. I never left the grounds. And you got an idea of what happens between 9 p.m. and 1 a.m. That's where all the hoota goes on. About 3 a.m. That's when 4 a.m. That's when the farmers, the ranchers, guys like me, we get up early. The chickens are crowing. We get up. That's when you see stuff happening. The stuff that really, really, really makes the state fair experience the greatest experience of all. It's a pretty cool place. We are the second largest fair in the country, behind Missouri. And you know why Missouri's number one? Because the guy that made us number one was hired by Missouri about 15 years ago to go down there and do that.
And their state fair is in Sedalia?
I don't know. But then you go to the general store, and they've literally got a barrel of the biggest dill pickles you'll ever see. You know, you go some places, and they got those big dill pickles. Those babies are miniatures compared to these. These are cucumber size. Okay? Then you got to go to the right Euro shop. Gyros, whatever you want to call them. And I'm assuming the guy's still out there. And you if he knows you, or you say what you need to say, you'll get a gyro that you'll never get anywhere else in any restaurant anywhere in the world unless you probably go over to Greece. Have you ever had the homemade? Help me with this, Frank. It's the ice cream that Botters has out there. The mint and chocolate. Is that what it is?
Mint chip? No, I don't know.
No, it's something different than that. But you just got to go look for this stuff, dude. I mean, it's just crazy.
And take plenty of money.
And take plenty of money. Yeah, you're gonna drop $40-$50 a head, and you may or may not ride anything. Oh, and the Bird's Nest. Bird's Nest has a cheeseburger, Chris, a 1-pound cheeseburger with bacon and everything you want on it. I mean, just massive. And you know what the bun is? 2 grilled cheese sandwiches.
You can tell Mac hasn't had some of this stuff in a while.
Yeah, no, I haven't. And because I just can't eat it right now with my heart. But imagine having a pound burger. Now, a pound of hamburger in one burger, okay? And this is good hamburger. This is not crappy hamburger at the Bird's Nest. The Bird's Nest has the real deal. You get all the bacon and all the lettuce and all the tomatoes and all that other stuff, and then the bun is 2 grilled cheese and this is not unwrapped slices of American cheese. This is a big old slab of Velveeta. And this isn't Wonder Bread. This is Texas toast, brother. 4 pieces of fried, grilled Texas toast, grilled cheese sandwich. I mean, how about that? You ready to go?
Yeah, I'm hungry.
I can take you to all those places. All those places. And just go to town. Go to town. All right. Well, we were hoping to have Steve Corey on this afternoon and talk about something that the radio station's going to be involved with this year. The fact that he's not calling tells me that he's probably you know how pastors are. Something happens, and they've got to take care of their flock. And I know Steve's a good guy, so that's probably what the case is.
What happened one time when we was going to have Dan Rude, and he got diverted by somebody or something that he had to attend to his flock, and
Mac knows. He was just in a counseling session that just went long. Yeah. Pastor's just doing good pastor stuff.
But I'm gonna try to give him a call here and see if I can't get him on the horn. But listen, if I can't get him, I'm still going to tell you. I've been waiting for months to tell you this. This was something. If you're a regular listener of the show, I interviewed Stephen Corey probably 8 weeks ago, and we talked about this. And then I had a bad test on my heart, and we went through another 6 weeks of battery of testing. And if you haven't heard, I'm fine now. God healed me. If you don't want to believe that God healed me, then the doctor made a mistake, or the test made a mistake, or whatever it is. But I believe He healed me, and I don't know if it's a miraculous healing. Maybe I had the bad test because He made it a bad test, so He would get my attention and finally make me look at my health. Because He's got a ministry ahead for this radio station, and I'm a part of that radio station. And I was walking around at 280 pounds, guys. I'm only 6 foot tall. And I don't get any fat in my butt or in my legs. It all comes in my carotid arteries and in my chest around my heart. So however God did this, God did something. And I'm now down to 2 weeks ago, I was at 229. So basically, I've lost 50 pounds since the middle of May, and I'm doing it healthy. I'm not on any diet drug pill or any fancy shake 'em up and drink 'em 5 times a day. I just am absolutely watching what I eat, and I bought a pair of tennis shoes, and I'm walking. Because that's what God's telling me to do. All right, we're coming back. Alive here on The Truth.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Hey everybody, I brought Northern Lights Pizza, and it's got Graziano sausage.
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rockton Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
All right, 21 minutes after 4 o'clock, 4:21 in the afternoon. Remember that my friends James and, the Weiss-Merkel guys, the financial guys, if you've got a 401k and you've ever rolled it over, statistics say 75% of those people have not looked at it in over 20 months, almost 2 years. And it's because it's a hassle. And you find out that you probably should have been paying attention and you weren't. It convicts you. So my guys, Weiss-Merkel, said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to look at anybody's 401k for free. Anybody who's had their 401k rolled over, we're going to look at it for free. And they'll do it for you. And they promise me, no strings attached. You know, yes, they want your business. Of course they want your business. But they're willing to earn it. Remember those old commercials? You earned it. They're willing to earn your business. Give them a call, 278-4110. 278-4110. Weiss-Merkel, James and Lauren. James Weiss, Lauren Merkel. They're my retirement guys. And I want you to have them look at your 401k and see if they could be your retirement guys. All right, we have located Pastor Stephen Corey. Stephen, Pastor, how are you?
Hello, my dear friend. I am blessed and I'm grateful. Thank you. How are you doing?
Good. I've been hoping that you'd call in and we could make this big announcement to my audience.
I am excited. I've been ready and preparing for it, and I look forward to getting to encourage believers of what God is doing in Israel.
All right. First of all, let's talk a little bit about your ministry and what you're doing. Here, listen. Before we go to the next, I'll just tell you now, and then we'll talk about his ministry. I have a, I don't even think I've told you this, Pastor, but I had a inner healing prayer session somewhere right at the middle of June. And I'd love to tell you about this. Some people know it as Sozo, if you've ever heard of Sozo ministry. It is a 2 to 2.5 hour session where I sit with one facilitator and one scribe. And the scribe writes down everything that Papa, that's my name for God, that Papa tells me. Not what the scribe thinks Papa tells me. It's what comes out of my mouth that Papa tells me. Because the entire thing is a facilitator asking me to ask Papa questions. So ask Papa what he has planned for your ministry. Papa, what do you have planned for my ministry? And we're deep in prayer. It is simply the coolest experience I've ever had, and I've done it 3 times here in the last 4 or 5 years.
Wow.
And
that is amazing.
For me, what happens, and I can only talk about what happens for me. When I ask Papa what he's got planned for your ministry, Papa, what do you have planned for my... And before I ever get the last word out, there's a word that comes up into me. And when I know Papa's talking to me and he's revealing himself to me through the Holy Spirit, I always know it's the right, or not the right answer, it's the answer, because I don't finish the question. If I finish the question, that means my itty-bitty little fleshy brain is trying to think of what the answer is. And I shouldn't be thinking of what the answer is. So probably a week or 2 weeks before you and I were on the radio the last time, Well, it might have been the week of, to be honest with you. I'd have to go back and look. I had an inner healing prayer session that lasted 4.5 hours without a break. You don't stop. You just keep praying. And you go where the Holy Spirit leads you. And the facilitator asked me to ask Papa what plans he has for my ministry. Because, see, I'm just a radio talk show host, Steve. Ministry? I didn't go to seminary. I a disciple maker? Me? No. I mean, I can tell you how Jesus works in my life, but I'm not in ministry. I'm not in a mission. I'm not going to go on a mission and go across the sea and I'm not that. That's what I always said.
Yeah.
And one day I said on the radio, I'll never forget it. I said on the radio, I said, "Oh no, I'm never going to go on a mission." And a woman, I wish I knew who she was, called up live on the air and said, "Mac, your mission is this radio show. Your ministry is this radio show." And humbly, I couldn't accept that because I'm a radio guy. And then I began to realize through surrendering to him and being very open to hear anything he had to tell me, I realized that this little radio show that I've been doing for 44 years actually could go out and do Matthew 28 and make disciples of all men.
Wow.
So I do this inner healing session, and the question is, Papa, what do you have planned for my and before I got ministry out, the word that came up was infinity. Now, I don't drive them. I don't use that word. That's not a word in Mac's language. Infinity. And in my mind, I saw something shoot into space. And I thought, And the facilitator later told me that what God has planned for your ministry, you can't even embrace, Mac. You can't even put your arms around it. Well, because I was thinking, okay, what? How would God use this ministry even more? How would he expand it? Well, we'd get another hour. We've always wanted to go 3 to 6 rather than 3 to 5. We'd get another hour. We already had the signal upgraded in Des Moines. It's a full power signal, so we're covering 1 million people.
Wow.
So I'm thinking, well, maybe another hour a day. Maybe Frank won't talk so much, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then I'm on the radio with you, and you're getting me excited, brother. You're genuinely getting me excited about what you're doing over there. And I make the comment that I've never been to Israel.
I remember that.
I'd like to come, but I've never been. And then we get off the air, and you say, "Why don't you just come over here and hang with me?" Because I made the comment on the radio that I'm not a very good tour person because I don't like to stay in front of the red ropes.
Yeah.
I've got that curiosity of a tabby cat. That I want to go where nobody else wants me to go, and I want to look at what nobody else wants me to look at. So then you and I, and you already know all this, obviously, but I'm telling the listeners, you and I, well, I don't know if God laid it on your heart or my heart, but all of a sudden we started talking about doing this radio show live from one of your Christian churches that you've planted over in Jerusalem. And, brother, I would have told, any time in the past I would have told you, no way, I'm not going to do it. I don't have a passport. I don't want to travel. I don't like sleeping in other people's beds. That's 2 days of traveling. That's not for me. I like to sleep in my own bed. I'm fine. My ministry is fine. There's no infinity to my ministry. My ministry is on the radio every day, 3 to 5, and God, that's the way I planned it. And then all of a sudden, talking to you, I realize that I could go to Israel and do a show from one of your churches in Israel.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking about, well, when would I want to do this? And I want to tell you, what would be the coolest place? Where would be the coolest place to broadcast live from in the world on Christmas Eve? And
where it all happened.
And you said, well, I happen to have a church plant in Bethlehem, the place that Jesus was born.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to do. Now, this is not a tour group, listeners. I just want to tell you right now that I'm not selling tours. Please believe me. This is not one of those deals where you join Mike Lozano and you go take a trip around the Alaska Seas. That's not what this is. I'm going to go over and broadcast live. I think Bob's going with me. And I think another buddy of mine, Craig Ellingson, is coming with me. If other people want to come, you're welcome to come. But you're going to have to do your tour stuff on your own, because I'm going to focus on interviewing people on the radio, and then that December 24th be live, hopefully also with a TV hookup, or at least live streaming on air with pictures, the Christmas Eve service from your Christian church that you've planted in Bethlehem.
I am so excited. Mac, I am just pumped up. Every time you and I talk about it, it's going to be an exciting moment, because, and for those that are listening, this is the beautiful news, is that, Mac, you're going to be coming to Bethlehem, the birth city of Jesus Christ. We're going to be bringing stories of believers from Bethlehem, from Jerusalem, from that surrounding area. We're going to be inviting more guests on the show, like a Jewish rabbi. We're going to be inviting other believers that have suffered for the faith to talk about what is the joy of Christmas, and that Christmas goes beyond than just a fancy green tree, and it goes beyond than just a couple wrapped up Christmas gifts. And the beauty about this, for those that are listening, you will walk where Jesus walked, and we will tag you along with some of our church members who are actually, by profession, they are Bible teachers, and they'll take you around and to walk where Jesus walked, and to visit people's homes, to minister with people, and at the same time learn the Bible practically, and actually teaching the Bible. We call it an educational Bible journey, where you serve, do radio programs, you pray with people, hear people's stories, and even minister in some homes, like Muslim homes and Jewish homes. You go out and help them and minister, and that's the way you show the love of God.
Yeah, and now we should tell people that if they want to come along and go on some tours, they can do that. That's a purchase price.
Yes.
Those arrangements can be made, but I'm not doing that. That's not what I want. I don't want to go on a tour of Jerusalem. I don't like the idea of doing that. So anyway, but that is available to people if they want to come over.
Yeah, it will be. It's an option. People can come and stay longer, or they can come beforehand. And we are facilitating that if those, Max, that are listening that are interested, and they can contact Daniel Collins, who's my stateside director, who will be facilitating the vision, Daniel Collins. So they can reach out to him by email or by phone call.
Well, just get a hold of me, and I'll get you the number.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, get a hold of me at the radio station. All right. Well, Pastor, I appreciate you taking the time to be on the radio with us today. I look forward. I think I've got you scheduled again in another week where you and I and Daniel are going to be on, or maybe it's just me and Daniel. I think it's just me and Daniel.
Yeah, we're gonna work out something where we're gonna talk more about the details. We just want to walk, serve, bring the attention of the world to the city of Bethlehem, and it's always done via the traditional church movement, which is a great thing. But it hasn't been done where people are covering the evangelical side of what God is doing on the evangelical side of things in the Holy Land, Mac. And that's what you're doing. And I'm so excited that you're going to be able to bring this to the city of Bethlehem, the birth city of Jesus.
Yeah, I'm just amazed. I mean, I'm humbled. All right, we're going to take a break. Stephen, you hang on, because I want to come back and I want folks to hear a little bit about your ministry and what you're doing over there. Because obviously, let's not be coy about this. We'd love for people here in Iowa to get out their checkbooks and help support your ministry. And so we're going to sit here and we're going to tell you all the wonderful things that Pastor Corey and his team is doing over in Israel. So that's coming up next. You hang on, Pastor. You hang on at home, because we're coming back, because we're live on The Truth. You get it? You can find the truth right here on 99.3 FM.
Northern Lights Pizza's amazing garlic butter makes amazing breadsticks. Now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza. I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer. I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Hobbs.
And I'm the service manager.
Marketing director and client relations manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed. Fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money-back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're going to make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money-back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
All right, 4:38, 22 minutes before the top hour, Salem Radio Network News, and then Hank the Bible Answer Man. If you're just joining us this hour, Pastor Stephen, and you said, pronounce your last name for me, because Frank and I have a bet, and I think he's going to lose.
I think I'm going to win. I say it's Curry.
Well, the original way, it's Khoury.
Khoury?
Yes, Corey. Yes,
all right,
Corey.
see, I'm right.
He said original.
Well, original is all we care about. He can't change.
As someone who was at his breakout session, he pronounced it at his breakout session as Curry.
Well, I was just trying to make it easier on everybody there. So if I knew there was something going on, like a bet or something, I probably would have made it harder on you guys.
Oh, okay.
But I got a bet here. Is it Curry like the spice, or Corey like I'm right?
It would be more Corey, because that's closer to the Khoury part. The Khoury, that's the original. And actually it means priest. So from the Gentile side, I'm a Levite. So the original thing in Greek, it means priest.
Okay. So Frank, repeat after me.
All right. I'm half right because
no. I want you to say
Stephen said for the simplicity.
I, Frank the verse, am wrong. Mac is right.
For the simplicity of our American listening audience, you did say Curry, so I will concede the point to Mac that the original pronunciation may be different.
Maybe different. That's good.
All right. So the name of your ministry in the .com world is what?
It's Holy Land Missions. And our goal, Mac, is to preach the gospel to the Arabs, to the Jews, to the Muslim community. We've been there for 39 years, preaching the message of Jesus Christ to the Arab world, the Middle Eastern world, and the Jewish world within the land of Israel. And in the 39 years today, of course, we are stateside. We are a 501c3 as well. But our main goal is church planting, evangelism, and discipleship. And we have not veered away from that for 39 years. And for that vision, Max, our church has been attacked. We've seen members get beaten. We've seen church members get even martyred for their faith. Thankfully, nowadays, the community accepted the fact that we're there. They actually have a lot of respect for us because we've outstood time and trials and tribulations, and they actually send their children over to our programs. And there's a lot of favor between us and the community, both the Muslim and the traditional Christian community and the Jewish community. There's a lot of favor on our ministry because they've seen us be consistent with integrity and character in our ministry and in our calling.
All right, so it's Holy Land Mission or Missions?
It's missions, and if you add a .org at the end, that's our website, Holy Land Mission.
All right.
Plural.
All right. Now, Frank, go ahead. You have a question.
I kind of liken your ministry a little bit, in my opinion, to the Reformation, where these reformers come out at peril of life and limb, and their freedoms were at stake. And the things that you're doing, you're walking the walk over there where there's actual persecution of Christianity, and you're putting your life and your limb on the line. And I applaud that. But do you sometimes feel yourself almost like a reformer?
Frank, it's just in the most simplistic form, we are just happy to be alive. We're just happy to preach the gospel. We're happy to live out the gospel. You see, I've been teaching this to the church in America humbly, and my message to them is that Christianity and Christ, it's not a product. Christ and Christianity is a process. You process Christ. It has Christianity, the realm of the faith in the West has become where you pick up Jesus for a few months during your difficult days. When everything gets better, you put him back on the shelf. And that in that form, the West has made Christ a product, where in reality, Christ and Christianity must be a process. You process Christ. You go through trials and tribulations. You fall into sin. You get up. You ask for repentance. And along the process, you will lose family. You will lose friends. In the first century church, Frank, it was abnormal to suffer. It was abnormal not to suffer for the faith, where in today's world, it's abnormal to suffer for the faith. So the devil has completely swapped 180 degrees.
Right. So if you're not shouldering a cross or carrying a cross, you really ought to examine your spiritual life. Would you suggest that?
That is the reality, because we are living on the enemy's territory. We are living in the enemy's turf. He is the prince of this of the darkness of the rules of this world, and that's Satan. So we are in his territory, and the more to the light we walk, or the more to the peaceful side, or to the side of grace, to the side of righteousness we stand or we walk towards, the more our backs are to darkness, the more we become a target to the evil of this world. Of course, when you put that in the light of the crown of glory that's to come, it becomes all worth it. It just, people have to change their mindset. People have to change the mindset they're in.
Well, listening to what you just said, Matthew 10:34 comes to mind, which says, "Think not that I come to send peace on earth,
but a sword.
But a sword. A sword cuts and divides." And what Christ is basically saying here is he is out to cut and divide families to cause someone to stand for him. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to abandon those people that have been divided, but he wants somebody in the midst of this cesspool to stand up for him, and he's going to separate whatever relationship you have with anybody who is counter and a detriment to his gospel and message going through. And that, I believe that's exactly what you were saying.
Exactly. In Matthew 10:34, that's where the verse is found. The beauty about this is actually, when he says, I put a sword, he's actually saying, I first put the sword between you and the prince of this universe, or this prince of this darkness of this world. So when you believe in Christ, you automatically have placed the sword between you and the ruler of the principalities of the darkness. And it starts with that.
But it ends up in verse 36 saying, a man's foes will be of his own household. So you're likely to end up at confrontation and odds against your own family when you make that decision for the Lord. And you've talked about that in your breakout session where young men have come to Jesus Christ and they were beaten, I think you said, with hangers and all kinds of things, and they wanted them to rebuke Jesus Christ. And I think you mentioned that a young man said, well, you haven't got anything better to give me, so until you do, I'm sticking with Jesus, keep beating.
That's exactly what I said, and and now that story is one of the most beautiful stories that exists in our ministry out of the hundreds of stories of lives being transformed, because it's a simplistic concept of the faith of Christ. And I think we as human beings, we have it complicated and made the concept of faith so complex that people are shunned by the faith, or people don't want to touch the faith of Christianity because we have made it so complex and so complicated. When in the essence, it's the preaching of the cross, it's the sharing of the message of righteousness and love and grace, and that's the message that I've been challenging the church in America. And why do I do this? Well, one, Frank and Matthew and I, when we had breakfast in Des Moines, which I love the food in Des Moines. You guys got great food there.
Thanks.
When we had breakfast with Mac and I, we talked about it, and it's the concept of we want to help the church in America grow faster by hearing our stories and learning from the stripes that we have earned and learned, walking in the same place which we call the cradle of Christianity in Israel.
All right, Pastor Corey, hang on. We've got a very short break coming up, and then when we come back, we'll wrap up our conversation for today. Just to let people know, if you're just catching the show, Pastor Corey and I just announced that I'm heading to Jerusalem for Christmas week. I'm going to do my show live Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. And then on Christmas Eve, we're going to broadcast the service live from his brand new church plant. Where? In Bethlehem.
I love it.
Christmas Eve, dude. Live in Bethlehem, and you can go with us. It's not one of those sponsored tours. I'm just saying, if you want to go, you can come with me. All right, we're coming back live. We're back in 2 minutes. Hang on.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rockton Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
Northern Lights Pizza, your home of the tasty crust. Our garlic butter sauce now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common, everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
10 minutes before the hour of 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock, Salem Radio Network News and Hank the Bible Answer Man, 1-888-ASK-HANK. Okay, we're on the line with Pastor Stephen Corey, or Curry, however you want to pronounce it. But it's spelled differently. It's K-H...
O-U-R-Y.
Yeah, K-A. And you're Lebanese, right?
My mother is Lebanese. I was born in Jerusalem, and I grew up in the city of Bethlehem all my life. I lived there and was born there, minus a few years of going to Bible college here in America. That's where I learned a lot about the American culture. And I still live there, still today, Brother Mac, in Israel. But I'm traveling in the U.S. now, preaching and sharing to thousands in American churches, raising awareness about what God is doing in Israel. And I'm also doing what Paul did in Galatians and in Romans, Mac, where Paul traveled and challenged the churches to be bold like the church in Jerusalem. Not that the church in Jerusalem was any better than any other church, but they had some strong traits that needed to be existing within the spiritual walk of a church during those days. And those traits are still there today, still in Jerusalem. So I'm doing the same thing that Paul did. Besides raising awareness, Paul also challenged the believers in Romans and Galatians to collect love offerings and donations for the suffering church in Jerusalem. And God has given us 12 ministries that we oversee and that we started and oversee in the land of Israel of believers preaching the gospels, helping the suffering, persecuted believers, a print shop with printing the gospels and other things. And all this is depending on prayers and partnership of people like you and those that listen.
Hey, Pastor, I'm interested in this product and process, and you were talking about, many people pick up Jesus as he's a product on the shelf, and they test him out for a while, and it goes pretty good for a while, and then they set him down and, kind of put him away, put him aside, put him on the back burner. Well, and then you talk about this process of, do you consider that process sanctification? In other words, we have to be tried by fire. The way to refine gold is to dip it over and over and over in the fire to burn off the impurities. We don't stay in the fire, the full time. God brings us out, puts us back in, refines us some more. But he's trying to mold us in his image, in his perfection, in his likeness, in his oneness with him. Is that the process you're talking about?
The process I'm talking about, Frank, is the concept of understanding that the minute you say that I am a believer in Jesus Christ, I believe in Christ and who he is, his person, his death, burial, resurrection, and his blood sanctifies my sin, then automatically you enter this new realm of a spiritual journey and walk. And automatically, because that spiritual nature fights against the nature of this world, you are tried by fire, you are tried by trials and tribulations in this world. And when that's the process, you begin, when you fall into temptation, you turn to the Scriptures, you read the Scriptures, and it talks about Christ has overcome the world, and talks about to live a righteous life. And then the next week, you might fall into another thing, which is lying, stealing, cheating, or whatever it is that you're battling. And you go to the Scriptures and you begin to learn to the concept of being sanctified through the blood of Christ, but also walking in the righteous walk with God, which comes out of John 3 and comes out of Psalm 19 and so forth. So it's the concept of what you go through, what you trials and tribulations you process and you experience, that draws you to understand God better, and that draws you to become even a person that's walking in the light of the Scriptures.
Now, when you were at your breakout session, and I think even the last time we had you on the phone, you talked about this idea that it might take a Arab from 3 to 5 years to fully proselytize over to Christianity. How many people do you think you have in that? I mean, how big's your church right now? How many people do you think you have in the process of really seriously believe are really close to conversion to Christianity? Do you see this opportunity in this mission field as boundless?
You know, bro, it is a boundless outreach because it's hard to put it in numbers, and here's why. Because a person can read the Bible for 3 years, but his inner nature is fighting against his nature of what he grew up, which is the family. And for example, in this case, I'm assuming you're referring to a Muslim, because that's my session.
Yes.
And that's something I've been doing a lot in America, is teaching you, the Christians in America, teaching you how to better understand the Islamic mindset and to sort of help you share your faith with them. And that's the program we started called Boldness, which is a TV series, which helps you understand better how to share your faith with Muslims. But within this realm of scope of things, the hardest thing for a Muslim to do is to look his father in the eyes and say, Father, I am believing in Jesus Christ, and therefore that requires me to turn my back on you, not because I want to, but because in Islam you become an outcast, a person that's worthy of being killed, whether it be by stoning or beheading, whatever culture that society has planted within a punishment for conversion. So the death is not a problem for them to. The consequence of death is not a problem for them to accept Jesus Christ. It's the concept of looking their father in the eye,
right?
Saying, "I'm turning my back on the," because it's a family thing. And many Christians don't know this: is that over 80% of Muslims are cultural Muslims, which means they're Muslims. Islam is just an identity. It's funny because down deep, when you talk to them, they can be atheists. They'll be atheist Muslim. Well, why do you call yourself a Muslim when you're an atheist? Well, because Islam is an identity. It's a grandfather, and it's grandfather in,
right?
Grandfathered in, and that's a good and a bad thing. And many Christians think every Muslim is a terrorist, and many Christians think every Muslim is out there to kill Christians. When in reality, that's not true. And when we understand that, we actually help make Muslims become better people that actually can contribute to society, rather than claiming all of them are terrorists and what be it.
All right, Pastor, I want to tell people again, it's holylandmissions.org, holylandmissions.org. We'll look forward to having Daniel, your assistant, on the radio with us. I think it's next Wednesday. I don't have my calendar in front of me, so we'll have to check. And then we can begin to tell people, there's options if they want to come over with me. There are tours available. I'm not going on a tour. I don't want to go on a tour. I want to be the feral cat that crawls around the back alleys of Jerusalem and Bethlehem and walk where Jesus walked. I'm just not interested in tours. But a lot of people like tours, and you've got some of those. You can set some of those up for them. So God bless you, brother. Thanks for calling in today, and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
Blessings to everybody. Thank you, guys. Appreciate
All right,
you.
bye-bye.
Frank and Buck. Thank you. Bye-bye.
And remember, at the end of every show, I always tell you the same thing, and I mean it. Forgive. It's what Jesus taught. Forgiveness, grace, and love. Because as you forgive, you'll be forgiven by him. Your Father in heaven, my Papa. See you at Hope.